we should maybe start a new business, a quarterback protection agency. Quarterbacks all over the NFL getting into fights these days. It's unbelievable. Cam Newton at practice yesterday with a linebacker on the Carolina Panthers. They scuffled. And then today, this Geno Smith story is unbelievable. Geno Smith, the Jets quarterback, might or might not have started the season. We don't know quite yet. In the locker room this morning, and a reserve linebacker, a guy named I.K. Enampali, sucker punches him. At least that's the word we're getting from Todd Bowles, the head coach of the Jets. Sucker punches Geno Smith in the jaw, breaks his jaw in 2 places. Geno Smith is out 6 to 10 weeks, and Enampali has been let go by the team, immediately let go by the team. What is going on here?
Well, you want a quarterback protection agency. I think the linebacker is going to be in the witness protection agency.
No
if that happened, in Denver with Peyton Manning, you know, there's a Justice Center right next door to where the Broncos train.
Drag that linebacker over there immediately in handcuffs by the legs.
Yeah. But it's not funny if you're a Jets fan or Jets follower. And let's find out what's going on in New York.
Let's go right to the phone and bring in Dom Cosentino. He is the Jets beat reporter for NJ.com. Dom, welcome to the show.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Oh, sure, and thank you for your time. We know there's a lot going on there right now. And just wondering, was there a problem between these two throughout camp, between the linebacker and Geno Smith?
And not that anyone was aware of or anything like that. Certainly nothing that would rise to this level where, you know, there would be a brawl breaking out and you know, with IK punching Geno in the face and breaking his jaw. Nothing to that effect, no. You know, I think there are skirmishes with teammates that come up. It had been a pretty quiet practice as far as that goes. Todd Bowles was actually instituted fines to avoid having practice skirmishes, the kind of stuff that breaks out at camp in the heat. So this was all very sudden, to be perfectly frank. We found out pretty much like the rest of the world. It was an impromptu press conference where Todd just came out about 30 minutes before practice began to let us know what happened, and he came right out and gave us as much detail as he could provide.
Dom, what was the coach's attitude at that point? I mean, was he what you might be called very perturbed? Was he beyond perturbed? Was he talking about it in somewhat of a mild manner? Because I've covered this game for 43 years, and I don't know of an injury that I remember to a quarterback happening that way. I don't know anybody has ever heard that.
You know, the thing with Todd is he's got a very even-keeled demeanor and very even-keeled manner, so he came out and he betrayed no emotion whatsoever, and even in delivering the news, you know, he was kind of the way he always is, which is, you know, direct, firm, but not really showing a whole lot of emotion. But he used words like childish and unacceptable and things like that. He made it very, and obviously he told us that IK had been let go. He made it very clear that this was not something he or the Jets would tolerate. Now, you know, we kind of joked with him a little bit about his emotions because he doesn't show much, and we'd had Rex Ryan here before that, who was completely different when it came to wearing his emotions on his sleeve. But you know, Todd and others have said that behind closed doors, Todd can be the kind of guy who curses, who yells, who raises his voice. But he did none of that today. He just sort of, you know, made it clear that they cut IK, they were ready to move on, and that this kind of thing was childish and unacceptable.
Dom, had we seen any problems with anger management or anything like that from IK?
No, to be perfectly honest, not since the Jets drafted him just last year. He was a 6th-round pick out of college, and you know he was on the roster for all of last season, but didn't play much at all. And you know, nothing that really jumped out that way. He's a huge guy, I can say that. He's got probably the biggest arms of anyone on the team. So if he caught Geno clean, it was going to be a pretty good punch. But nothing that where you sometimes can see guys playing with a lot of energy or a motor or kind of getting active after plays. Never really saw any of that from him. But there was a report which my colleague Daryl Slater had posted on NJ.com just a few minutes ago that he had been arrested in college for battery on a police officer. So he does have a history, I guess, of some rage issues or things like that, if you want to put things in those terms. But nothing we had seen on the field from him during camp this year or last summer.
Dom, this was a critical year. Of course, every year is critical for quarterback, but Geno Smith trying to take hold of that job in New York. You said earlier, and I think the reports were 6 to 8 weeks. I don't assume you can create a helmet that will protect a quarterback, but where do the Jets turn now? What do you see happening over the first half of the season with the Jets and the quarterback situation?
Well, they've got Ryan Fitzpatrick, who was the veteran they brought in to kind of push Geno and compete with him, much like they had done with Michael Vick last season. The way things were going here at camp, Smith had a pretty good camp. He had not thrown an interception in camp until yesterday when he threw 2. So I think even though no one would come right out and say it, it was pretty well set that he was going to be the starter at week 1. Now Fitzpatrick is getting the reps at practice today with the first team. The question is, and Todd Bowles didn't necessarily rule it out, whether they go out and try to get another quarterback. But now here in August, there aren't a whole lot of options available. Michael Vick is still out there, Tyler Thigpen, Kyle Orton, if they could lure him out of retirement. There aren't a whole lot of options for the Jets at this point. We're a month from the start of the season. We'll have to see what they do. But for right now, Ryan Fitzpatrick would have to be the guy.
I think you'd have to eliminate Matt Flynn, even though he was erased the other day from the Patriots roster. He's a guy that really was injured and didn't help them at all. But you're right. I would guess, as much as I dislike him, that Kyle Orton would be a good option there if you could.
Well, Fitzpatrick's thrown for a lot of yards in this league.
Yeah, but he's
not your ideal number 1.
Yeah.
But I think I might. Dom, is he the best choice right now, Ryan Fitzpatrick?
I think for right now, I think given, that Michael Vick, that not even the Bills with their quarterback situation, Rex didn't want to bring him up there. Fitzpatrick's he's not, I don't think he's a guy who can lead this team to a Super Bowl, but at the same time, I don't know, here on August 11th, if there's any of the guys we mentioned, Jordan Palmer or anyone who might be available, is the kind of guy who's going to carry this team. The Jets were really counting on Geno taking that step forward this year with Chan Gailey, kind of instituting a spread system like he had run at West Virginia, like Geno had run at West Virginia. So far, things had gone well against a pretty good defense here in training camp. So it's a big setback not only for Smith's development, but also for the Jets. No question about it.
Dom, we have a gigantic picture of you and your kid. I assume that's your son that's on our big screen TV. What's his name and what is your Twitter handle?
That's my son, Cameron, who's about 9.5 months old at this point. He's a great little guy, and I love that photo, so I appreciate you putting that up. But
yeah.
My Twitter handle is just my name, Dom Cosentino, DOMCOSENTINO.
Dom, thanks for your time, man, and we'll send everybody over to NJ.com to read your stuff.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Dom Cosentino, he's the Jets beat reporter for NJ.com. That segment brought to you by the Harmony Foundation. It's Colorado's best treatment program for drug and alcohol addiction. They've got a facility right outside of Estes Park, a very private mountain campus. They are insurance friendly, so check them out at harmonyfoundationinc.com.